So based on the layout, we just drew on the board here. We try to present the same thing and see how we could lay out such website. So I'll create a new document with let me call it home page. The screen is a bit small, so the width, let me make it 900 over 700. Sorry. Then do it like this. So kind of the web page. Let me bring it up. But I'll place my markers at the middle because I won't use the whole thing. So which means the content is going to be in between these two markers. But we assume the whole thing is a web page. So based on that, we said we want to have a background for our menu, right? So we just do it like this, basa basa. So let me draw like that. And the background color should be a purple, some purple. Let me take any purple. If I even know the purple should be here. So I use this purple for the header, right? So I also said the logo is going to be placed somewhere here. So we just, and our logo is just a rectangle with MI inside. With this rectangle, let me just make the background transparent, and the stroke, let me give it a color white because we are on the purple one. Let me make it 2 points or 3. Good, something like this. Then inside we have the name, which is I'm writing on. Let me write it outside somewhere here. So MI. Okay. We take the MI inside, change it. This the I should be small letters. Yeah, I can increase the size of the text a bit. Then we change the color into white. Then we have small logo placed there. Okay. So the next thing is to have the menu. So we said we need the home page, of course. After the home page, we need let me zoom it again. One, two. So let me rename those ones. So home page, about activities, about activities, gallery, and contact. I think double L, right? L, then contact. And remember, I said that the content shouldn't go beyond the marker here, so we need to make sure we always stay there. Let me look at the background here that we can always highlight without taking it, and then I can shift this up, and I can start shifting those ones to here. Okay, I can get to place my contact. All right, so this is kind of trying to present your mockups, your paper mockups into something a bit realistic for the client to see. So I think we should have horizontal alignment. Yeah, good. And this is an opportunity probably you could use to start thinking of the font to use for the text. So make the logo a bit smaller so that it looks like the same size as the text, and push it up here. Okay, so somewhere here. Then let me try to increase. You can start thinking of the exact sizes, the exact font, and all this that could appear on the website because you could pick the same font. So let's assume I'm using a font called Nexa. Okay, so I use this font Nexa. It means when I go on the website I have to go on with Nexa. So, and the font, the sizes you see here, I can see the text is 2 point, 12 point. So I could go on with the same sizes on the website. So I get the exact uh, layout. Oh, I like the way the logo bended here small. I like the way it bended. So let me preview it and see. You see how it is bended. So I think we should keep it like that. So we have a menu somehow. It doesn't look really centered, vertically centered. So I can push everything up a bit. So this is the header we just got there. And we said as on the home page, each menu will be, some of the menus will be having drop down, right? So for the drop down, I think we need to have like a sign like this. And then rotate it. You can go for icons. Okay, there are icons online you could use and install them on your desktop. And you can bring them inside your Photoshop at any time, at any moment. Good. I am just using the less than sign or greater than sign and then just place it in front to show that okay, this will have some drop down there. It looks too fat. Let me go for Nexa again. Yeah, so by using Nexa, I'll get it a bit smaller. It's ugly, but yeah. So let me make a copy here. Yeah, it's really ugly, but let's just use it like that. So for your clients, you really have to pay attention in making something cool for them. Let me get here, and I can shift this contact a bit. Good. So this actually shows that we have something under each one of them. By the contact, we don't have anything under it, so there's no need. Everything will be in the same page. Gallery. You can even ignore for the gallery. We just create subsections in the page. Activities here, about here, we can keep it like that because those ones can be really huge. So once we have that, the next thing is the content itself here. And here we can see we have a group picture. So we can symbolize a group picture with something, or we could get a picture online. Okay, and then make it like this. In my case, I'm just using this. Okay, just give it a border. Then we have some outline, right? You can start writing the real text based on what you have. So, like last mission in Kigali. Yeah, that was their last mission in Kigali, and it's a heading. Okay, so it's a heading. I make it some kind of big like this, and you can see I'm still using the same font, which is Nexa. And I would like to make this heading a bit bold, and then now we can have some text. That one doesn't need to be bold. Yeah. The size has to be smaller. I don't know. Good. Then I can also find some dummy text online and place it inside, like the lorem ipsum dole set. I don't know, just writing. So okay, I'll copy paste again. So if you are designing, let me go to the next line. copy and paste many times. I'll cut it again. So this Photoshop skills. So I'll take my text and then just mark that the text shouldn't go beyond this canvas. Then I'll paste it inside. Good. And I can copy several times, paste. So this is usually a summary of whatever happened there. Okay, so I can bring the title a bit at the left. This. Okay, let me even try to reduce the size of the image so it fits a bit the text. So this is about your design skills, and then I can bring the text like this and have a button. So I'll take rounded borders and have a button like this, and that button will have a feeling of maybe, I don't know, orange. I'm bad at that in choosing colors. Good. So now we write something like read or whatever you wanted based on how you target the next content. Read more. Okay, I'm coming. Then we increase the size a bit and make it white. So then we edit the all into more. Good. Now we have bigger text which we need to reduce. Okay, I think it's already fine the button. So somehow this what we could get. No, it doesn't fit like on the right side and all these things. Now, let me shift it a bit like this. But I'm sure on our page, if we just try to shrink it a bit, we'll get that working. And while we are writing the HTML, we could make it happen. And then the next thing is we want to write what did I say so? And this could be activity. Okay, so we can write, we need boxes, like 3 boxes like this. Good, perfect. So we're writing like activity 1 that we love. So something like this. Activity 2 also that we love. Activity 3 we also love. So 1, 2, and 3 here. Okay, so you can go deep. So let me just change the font into something else here. And what was that? I don't know. So whatever font you choose, you should always, because it will give a look and feel to the website, you should always think of probably getting the same font on the website, on the HTML side as well. Otherwise, you will present something to the client on the mockup, and then the result will look different. The result will look different, and that wouldn't make sense. So your titles can go under, not necessarily here. They can be just under the pictures, what most people do. And I think we should also do the same, right? Try to bring the captions under instead. So I'll bring them under here like this. Then I'll take the boxes up a bit. And shift them left. Good. So somehow this is what we are going to have maybe. And then next, I would like some more space. So I'll go to image, canvas size. Want to increase the height. So into pixels, the height is 700. Let me make it 750. Just for me to have the footer. I want to add it at the bottom. Good. So I can have some small space. I would like to use the same color we have at the header for the footer. So let me unlock the header background and make a copy. So just shrink it a bit. Good. I can lock it and also lock the footer. Where is it? I think that was it then. Yeah, that was it. It's locked. Good. This one too can be locked now. So with that, we can write something on the footer like I don't know, copyright 2019, copyright by Prince Co.
Is it Prince Co or Princo?
Prince Co. Princo. By
That's
Princo.
your nickname, Princo.
So we give it by Princo. Although it's not Princo who designed, but we give him the credit. We give it to him for free to motivate him to do more. Okay, so somehow this could be the layout we would like to have. In real scenarios, you will have to write real content, probably add the real pictures and all this, or sample or dummy pictures to show how it is going to look like. So you try to use Photoshop and try to produce, or whatever software you want to produce exactly, or somehow something closer to what you would expect to get. And another thing is, once you have it in the graphical form like this, converting it into HTML can be also another challenge. So it might be like you won't get something more like really faithfully exactly as you have it on the image on the site. An example is the one I was showing you. The image they sent me is not what exactly I got. So we even have to think of something different altogether. So the graphic designers or the user experience designers or whatever, usually they do take it a step further. They really design crazy stuff, and it's up to you now, the front end guy, to interpret all those images into um, an HTML template. So once they usually, so in case we have the designer working, that's the designer's work. Once he is done, he just have to export it and send it to you guys for each page and their relations and everything. So the front end guy now will take over and start cutting this now into a template. So if we look at it, all right. So I have a new page. No, no, it's you. There. You will take the mockup and go and start working on it. But you can be looking at me and see how I'm trying to achieve that. So I will try to create a new folder. So let me new open folder. Open, no. So new, just new, and then save it somewhere. And this will be inside. Let me keep it here, just inside this folder like that. So I'll create a new folder here. New folder. So make it like MI, right? We'll name the project MI. Then this will be our index page, index.html. Okay, HTML. My battery is gone. Okay, so first things first, we start by making our HTML basic template. HTML. Why am I not getting? You see, I saved it like the text, so I will resave it again. Yeah. Oh, what? Why is it making it as plain text? I think I need to change the basic format, which is HTML. Yes, and that is it. Good. Now I have an HTML document. I want some HTML5. So we ignore all those things and I will say MI and welcome, anything. So that will be the title for the home page. From there, we move in the body. So you need to have an overall look at the whole page you are designing and kind of imagine. So if you look at it, what the designer will give you, you won't see those markers here like this. Those markers will not show the limitation. So you will see it as flat. So you have to guess like, okay, the whole thing here is actually kind of background, and the content is actually going to be somewhere here, limited. So I need a container for the content. But you can see that these backgrounds are not the same. This section here, which is the header, has a different background. The content here has a different background, and the footer too has a different background. So I cannot combine them, on the same container. It means this has to have its own container. So at the same time, the container that will contain the background color will be different from the container that will contain the text itself, because I need to bring the text at some level. So this is the idea you have to use in laying out the content. So if we go in that idea, we'll need a container for the whole thing, which is apart from the body. Let me use a main tag for the whole thing. So let me give it a class of content. So that will be the whole content. Okay, yes. So after that, I would start thinking of the header part of the site. So I will create a main div that will be the header of the whole thing. Okay, and header. Okay, and that header, inside it will have the navigation. That's the purple area.
This is the whole content.
Okay, that's the whole content. Yes. Yes. So content, that main.
The header.
So yes, that main here, main starts here and ends down here. So inside the main, I have the header that starts here and ends here. So I'm including the header tag to represent that purple area. So in that matter, let me even give it a class and name it purple, so that you can distinguish that the purple area. Let me make it header, purple header. Yes, like that. Okay, purple header. And then inside the purple header, we have a navigation. Okay, and the navigation has two parts, which is the logo and then the navigation itself. So I'm going to create two different things inside, which is the logo is an image. So let me make it image, and probably I might need to even export this for us to use it. So let me create a new document like this, and then I'll try to bring this small image inside so that we use it as our logo. The background should be transparent, and then I should crop it to fit our documents. I need to give it a background so I can see clearly. Let me unlock that background and change the color. Oh, oof. Let me make it. Come on. Okay, let me just insert some background like this. Good. Just like that. For us to see where we are cropping. So the crop tool. Come on. All right. So let me crop as deep as I can. We don't lose the logo. So here, so you see the process is not really, if you are a single man on the pool project, the process is not always really smooth. So you have to leave this and go on that, leave this and go on that. So we cancel the background so that we have only a transparent image. I save it as just like that, and go to my folder that should be inside libraries, documents, I think editorials, then MI, and then we'll save it just like we can save it as a JPEG but PNG instead. So PNG 24, transparent background, and we save, we go back again, libraries, documents, editorials, MI, then we name it logo, the PNG. Good. Because we want to have a transparent background. The background does have a no pack color. So the color will take the color of the background on which we use it. So for example, our purple area here will have a purple background. So when that image is posed on the purple background, the image will reflect that purple on itself. So that way we can change that background at any moment. The image will always follow the design. And you will see the effect right now. So I'll go by logo.png. If you make it JPEG, the background will be opaque. So logo. And let me go to the documents and go to editorials, MI. Then we still have html.html. Come on. Yes, we can remove this one. Well, the name is not even html. Oh man, it's crazy. html, right? Yes. Now we are good. We need to close this because yeah, we reopen it. So this is the logo, and I'm now open with our good. So we don't seem to have anything because it's normal, but at least we should have been able to see our logo. So let me look at that. Logo.png, it's just there. Logo.png, that should help. Yeah, it's normal because our logo actually is white and there's no background color, so we can't see it. So it's normal. So we have that. So the next thing, before we even go forward, let me try creating our CSS file. So I'll create a new file and save it as star.css at the same folder. So we are inside MI here. So stars.css. So our CSS will be here. Let me start by styling our body tag and probably give it font size. Font size by default, our font size should be 17 pixels. We want it huge. And then background color should be just white. Okay, white background color. So the whole document, because we want to remain faithful to that background color. So the next thing is we want to target our header here. Okay, and remember the header actually needs another container that will have this same width here. Okay, so we need kind of another div here to represent the container. So that will actually limit the content is on the purple. The purple is here, the purple area is this, and this container here will say, okay, keep the width at this. So the content shouldn't cross up to the purple, it should just stop somewhere here. It should stop somewhere here. So whatever width we give it, that way we can always shrink the content or enlarge the content without actually shrinking the background. So let's see how that works. So we do purple and then we do container, and in the container we'll have the navigation as well. So we need nav. I won't even use nav, like let me just go for a UL and then LI inside it. How many LIs do we want? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want 5 of it, and then each one should have a link inside, and this is it. So the first one is home, the second one is what? Home about activities. So about activities, gallery, then contact. Okay. Oh man, help me with the bag. I have the charger there. Our battery is dead. I was using it at home before coming. Good. We have power. Good. So we have this same menu. So kind of try to reproduce what you have visually, but with the code, but it won't give you the same result until you style it. You see the logo is showing up here. So what we can do next is to start by giving this background, styling this main class here. The content won't mind much, won't mind it much. Let's just keep it like that. Then we go to the next class, which is the purple, right? The background color is what we want, VGC, and then we said purple. Good, it's purple, and nothing shows up. What happens? Let me see. We are targeting this, right? A header, and let me add this block, and let me add this again and see height. Let me say 200 pixels. Nothing happens. What is the problem? Why is it that it's not showing?
Let me see.
This is the CSS here. It looks we have the CSS right. It doesn't matter. The semicolons. The CSS looks right. Our HTML looks right. Right? Something is missing here. We did not link the CSS to the HTML. So we need to do that quick. So we use the link tag and we are good to go. So now you can see our logo showing up, the menu showing up, the background showing up. But unfortunately, we kind of have some margin, some margin over there. It's not sticky. So I think we need to start the HTML tag itself, the body tag itself, by saying margin 0. Okay, and then padding to 0, and see what we get. So we are telling to the main body tag that don't get any margin, don't get any padding. So the next thing is we want to work on the container, which defines whether the content should spread all over the body or it should just be contained somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to create the class for the container. So container.
That's for the main.
No, not for the main. Main is the container inside the. This the container inside the header. It's a div. So container. So this the whole content inside the header with yes the logo and the menu. So you can see the logo here and then the menu here. So this container has the menu and then the logo. This same class container, we'll be using it all over the place because it determines the weight of the content. That's what we are interested in the most. So the weight should be, let's say like 70% of the whole screen. So let me call it max width, 70%, and then should I even, there's no need to say max width, and then the margin, which is the alignment margin, up and down 0, and then left and right auto, so that it aligns this whole block. Let me color the container for you to see. Border 1 pixel solid and then white, for you to see actually that container. You see where the container is. So it allows us to adjust the content inside the main header, which is there. I don't know if you are getting the idea. The container actually seems transparent. You see, the content doesn't go all over to the end of the header. So for you to maintain it from here to here, you need another container to do that work. You need something to take them all and then say be like this, be there. Okay. If you don't get that container, then the logo will come just at the left side here and then left side here. If we decide to say, okay, let's reduce the width of the header entirely, good, we'll reduce, but we'll have white at the left and right side because we reduce the size. So while we are here, let me try to pick the same purple we have here. I want to keep the same purple, so I'll pick the color code from here to unlock this here. So I want to pick the same color, so the code is here. So instead of me to write the name, the color as in purple here, I could just write the color hexadecimal code like this, and we'll get the right color as on our mockup. So you see the idea. So this container here allows us actually to maintain the content at some width on the header without having it to follow the header's width by default. So once we do that, the next thing, I'll keep the border of the container like this for you to see that we make it contain the menu so that the menu doesn't cross. Now I want the logo and then the menu to be aligned at the same line. So we need one particular property in CSS to do that, is to change the display this container, right? So I should work on that container and say display inline block. So I'm saying that, I hope I'm getting it right. No, I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. I think my HTML structure doesn't allow me to do that. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so there are better tools for that, like CSS Flexbox, but I don't want us to go there. What I want us to do is whatever is inside the container should align itself in line. Okay, I don't know why. So if I make it, okay, so let me do this. Container, and everything inside the container display inline. I hope I'm getting it right. I'm wrong. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I don't know, it's been long since I used display inline, so I'm going to kind of, I don't like that idea, but okay, let me do this. Flex. Okay, we want a flexible container. What this means actually is make this container flexible. So, and when you make it flexible, all the elements inside that container become like table cells. So they align themselves on a row. So you can have a first table cell, the next table cell contains this menu. So you can see inside the menu too, we need to make each element, which is the UL. Each element too should be aligned as a flexible, which is kind of a table, right? So we could say, I think there's a possibility of you changing it into table and then creating table cells and all this. So here we are just going to use flex, simple, for demo purpose. And you see it brings them to the next line. And once we do that, here I can say this justify content space between, and then it will take the menu over there, and then the logo will remain here. So this is the idea, but I don't like this idea. I think it's kind of advanced. So we need to use basic style because it requires you to memorize so many things here. It's a whole stuff. So what I want us to do is, let me just clear. So this and this UL, I'll just remove the margins because by default the UL has some margin and padding there. I want to clear it, and then under the UL, the li2 comes with some margin. I want to remove it, and then some padding too. I want to remove it. Okay, I want to remove the margin by default around the UL and li. I can see the bullets. I don't like those bullets, so I want to remove the list star types, none. So the star type of the list, I don't want any. So the next thing is the UL, the I don't know if you are seeing the idea here. So I'm saying that the UL, which is we have one UL, this is not good practice. It will be better you give it a class and then you target that class. But if we have only one UL in the whole page, then I can just target the UL and apply the style. And I'm saying under the UL, find the LIs. This is what this means, okay? Under the UL, find the LI. And here I'm saying under the UL, find the LI, and under the LIs, find the A. Okay, and then all the A's will start by changing the color by making the color white, okay, so that it is visible. Then the underline, I don't like it. Text decoration, none. I don't like the underlining. Good. And then I want us to have it aligned now. So to do that, I will do display inline. Okay, so I'm saying that inside the LIs should be displayed inline instead of being block. You know, the LIs by default are block tags, so we want them to display as block inlines. Okay, so in the LIs now, the A's by default are inline tags, so we won't have much space. You see, when I move out of the text, the hand goes, and we won't get enough space around. So we need to give spaces around them, and in order to do that, we need to change the display of the A's to transform them into blocks, block, and then add some padding, because if it is not a block tag, we won't get some padding. So I will give 0.5 rem, and then 1 rem, 0.5 for the top and the bottom, and 1 for the left and right, so that we get some spaces in between them. Yeah, I fucked up because I just changed that here. So let me make it inline block so that they remain in the flow of inline. So the next thing we would like to do is to have the logo and the menu aligned. So what I could think of, because the idea is to make these containers, I don't know, that's image, right? Let me make the image by default is inline. So what we could do is probably float it left. Wow. It is funny because we are going to have a hard time to position it here and then send the logo over there, the menu over there. So for us to send the menu, let me first of all float them. Oh man, I don't like that. These are old tricks, but just for the demo purpose, we'll make it like that. And one of the consequences in using this floating is, you see, the container now is kind of not containing all these elements anymore. So it has this side effect of not really looking cool. So even if we kind of container add some margin top at maybe 4%. Let's see what. Oh no, no margin. Should be padding. So we see the container enlarged, but this content is no longer inside the flow. It has lost the flow. So this is one of the consequences of using the floating left and right. But one thing is sure, we got what we want. Kind of, if we remove the border of the container, we won't notice any problem until when we start aligning another content. Then it will be like the flow starts here. So the content will come and now fall under that alignment of the container, that bottom border of the container. It will ignore the menu as if the menu wasn't part of the flow. Normally the next content should start appearing just under the menu, but because we added it as a float, then it will come out of the normal flow, and then the content will start flowing next to the. If you want an example, let's do it and you see. If I put anything under the header just like that. Oh, we had the header which has some height, right? I think I've started the header. Yes, here. So we thank God. This actually saved us. and the next content limits. But if you add something inside the header, which is here, here, for example, just after the container, you see where it appears. It doesn't appear under the menu. So we will assume we have no problem with that because we already set some height for our header. So our next content is going to follow just under that header, and it is fine. You can go ahead and remove the border around the container, which is here. You can just ignore it. And we have a menu just like we expected. We can even try to reduce the height of that header, which is make it 100 maybe. Good. So you can see one of the problems already. So we reduce the height. It means we have to reduce that margin top we added on that container here, which is here. At the padding top, make it 1% instead. Or no, like 2. And we have something. So we floated this left and floated the other one right. And we got it like this. We set some header which has a background color and goes from left to right. We didn't change the width. It flows by default. And then we added a container to set the width of the content at the middle somewhere so that we can contain the content somewhere. And to push the tag to contain it. It's just the width. So you set the width at a smaller width, and then you make the margin 0 for the top and the bottom, because it doesn't matter. We don't want that. And then the margin left and right, you remember, we make it auto so that it brings the container at the middle. Because when you set the width of a div or a block tag, and then you put a margin like this, it is going to center it if the width is not up to 100%. So it is going to place it at the middle. So this is the idea here. And when we bring the border, we see it clearly, and we see that this content is actually following its width. If I reduce it to 60%, it's going to reduce. You see? So that's the idea. If I make it 100%, it's going to be up to the end. So that gives you a flexible layout. So for small devices, for example, you can say, okay, make it 100%. For bigger devices, make it just 70 or 60%. So the same game continues. We'll do the same thing for the content as well, but I believe we'll be doing that tomorrow. And today we are tired. So this is going to be a new section tag that will contain now the picture and then the small summary. So this is going to be, let's call it maybe a mission or intro, just like that, introduction. And we are going to have different portions too, 2 different blocks. So here, in a traditional way, you could just use a table of 2 columns, but this is really not advised nowadays. So we are going to use, we have an image, right? So image that will bring, and then maybe a div that will have a heading 1. Let me say, yeah, heading 1 for the last mission at Kigali. I think Kigali is why I think. May they forgive me if I'm making it wrong. Then the small text, which is supposed to be inside paragraphs. So 1 lorem, another paragraph, that lorem, and so on. Okay. So after that, we have a button, which is read more, right? Read more. So you see, you kind of place in your HTML that represents each part of your design. The HTML we place is represented, but it doesn't necessarily look like how the final result is going to be. you have to use your CSS now to get that final result done. So if I refresh my page, nothing, it's just plain text. The image is not showing. I have to link the image. And
So the answer is, can you use this same, the width and the margin to
exactly, that's what we are going to do, because we need to have the content aligned in all the sections. It means we have to cover this to all this with another tag called container. So we still need to use this class here and call it container to contain all this content, so that it will also have the same width as the one at the header. So the container will always go on in each section to help us centralize the content at the same level. Meanwhile, let me just remove the border on the container. The header, right? That's it here. So we have something a bit neat. All right. So you see, we have something light without table. We align something left and right, cool with float. We'll come back to that aspect of floating here tomorrow once we continue, because we need to go through in fixing issues. It doesn't blend. If you go on mobile devices, there's going to be something else. So how can we fix them? How can we play with other different alignments, okay, different types of alignments, by using either floats, positioning, okay, all these things? We are going to use that and see. And from there, maybe we can start using our Flexbox or the CSS grid. So there are tools there meant to help us in laying out and make it easy for us. That is it.